Hey, welcome back to a second docuseries episode called I Have a Secret. And I want to share my secret with everyone. The secret is that I have autism. I'm going to tell you stories on how I became an autistic person. My mom went and told me stories like when I was 2 years old. She noticed some changes with me and what I was doing that involved me with autism. She said that she noticed some things like I was like rocking back and forth, like on the floor, bed, or rock back and forth. She said I got to where I just stopped talking and every time, let's say I needed something, I would always, let's say, point at something like, let's say, a ceiling fan. I can point at the ceiling fan without even saying ceiling fan, so I would be all like, and then she would like look up and say like ceiling fan, and then I'll shake my head yes without any words. Then she'll say like, are you hot? And like I'll shake my head yes or no for any answers. And then let's say like TV, for example. I could be pointing at a TV and I could be like, oh, well, I could just say like pointing at a TV without actually saying TV. And then she'll say like, do you want to watch TV? And I would just shake my head yes and or no or whatever. And it's not just those two things. Like, it's just I didn't know how to say certain words. It's not like TV or ceiling fan is like the hardest thing to say. It's just I just basically quit talking. So my mom went and took me to like a speech therapist just so I can actually start talking again. Instead of me like pointing at things, I would always just say like TV or ceiling fan, even though they weren't really hard words to say. Didn't, I wouldn't say I didn't feel like talking. It's just, I just feel like I just stopped talking. And it was one of the signs of autism. There's been some other things where I would always start playing with like Tupperware and pots and pans and pretend like it's a DJ stand. Just going like doing this, like spinning them around because that's what I liked was to spin around and making it look like I wasn't a DJ stand. But instead of actually playing real music, I was actually having music in my head. So I'll go like this. That's basically something that you would see a baby would actually do. Like a baby would actually start getting into like things. That's basically how I was doing a lot older than a baby. I got to where like, and I still do this constantly, like till this day, I get to where like I touch things. Like, let's say like on this table, well, it's actually kind of dusty. It hasn't been cleaned in a while, but let's just say like there's something like wet and gooey on the table. Like let's say right here, for example. It's like I'll look right at it, and then I have this consciousness telling me to either touch it or don't touch it or don't touch it. But then I'm thinking like, I can't, win this debate, so I'm like, you know what, I'm just gonna touch it. And then let's just say you touch it and then you realize it's all over your hands. You're like, ew, like why did I touch this? It's so icky and gooey. And then I get to where like I have to run to the bathroom or kitchen and have to start washing my damn hands. And then sometimes, and it's not just something that's like wet and gooey. Sometimes like it could be, let's say a broom, for example. Let's say I just saw a broom nearly in the corner of a room. I'll start touching it, and then people look at me and say, well, why are you always touching things and then you don't ever want to, use it or play with it or whatever? And then they look at you like you're just some kind of crazy person who doesn't understand what anything are. And they don't understand on how things are and how they work and stuff like that. That's me. And it's not just brooms or anything. But I've been doing this since I was like a little kid. At the age of like maybe 4 or maybe 4, there was a picture of me where I was sitting in the living room table and I had like two stuffed animals, like one stuffed animal here, one stuffed animal here, and I'm like in the middle of the table of the coffee tables like this big around, pretending like I'm actually in an office and I'm like coloring. I'm feeling at some kind of paperwork, even though it's just a coloring book. Even though I've got like, let's say like a stuffed animal here, and I'm pretending like they're my clients, they're my employees, and I'm over here pretending like, let's say like, hey, like this is what's going on, this is what we need to do, stuff like that. And it really didn't surprise my parents what I did. I mean, anything that I come up with, it's just bizarre craziness. I think I was like maybe like 5 or 6 years old. You know those smoke detectors that are actually in, people's houses? Well, when I was little, like maybe like 5 or 6 or whatever, um, I was afraid of them because like you know how like when a smoke detector starts making like beeping noises, like those annoying, obnoxious beeping noises, and it drives you like sometimes insane. Sometimes people just ignore it and stuff like that. Well, every time, let's say if my parents decide to change the battery in the smoke detector, and I would always watch them, change it, and I would be upstairs and it's like downstairs and I'm like scared to death because I was just afraid, like, since they changed the batteries in the smoke detector, I was afraid, let's say, like, if I go downstairs, I was afraid it was going to go off and I was going to be screaming bloody murder as a child. Like, I would be like screaming so loudly. Like, that's how I was terrified of it. And it got to the point where it would just take me maybe like 10 or even 20 minutes to try to get over it. Because as a kid, I used to think that the smoke detector had a face and that it was actually going to, like, go off or yell at me or something. That's what I was afraid of as a child. And I didn't know what a smoke detector was until when I was in kindergarten, first grade or second grade or whatever. They were teaching us about, like, let's say like what happens when, let's say, your house catches on fire. They say, you have to do like the stop, drop, and roll. This is more like people don't even do that anymore. People's more like they just rather run out the house and that's it. There's a lot that I actually have that has autism, is mixed emotions, bipolar, or even mood swings kind of, phases. Like, for example, let's say like I will get mad for nothing or start crying for nothing, or I'll start going through, let's say, a phase where I'm like scared, and then it's like the next day it's like I'm either pissed off about something, and then it's like happy about something, and then it's like mixed emotions. You just got to try to like figure out like what's going on, because sometimes like there could be some things in my head that might make me do this, and then sometimes there's nothing in my head that makes me act like this. I mean, a lot of people think I have problems. The only thing that I have to do is that I have to see my doctor every 3 months, and he's supposed to help me out with all my crazy psychological problems that's inside my head. And then I have to tell him things of what goes on every 3 months. And then I also have like anger issues where if I don't take any medication that's supposed to, let's say, like help me with my anger issues, I will basically go berserk or I might end up in jail. Because let's just say, like, if I don't take these pills that my doctor's prescribing me, I mean, I might become like a psychopath who might end up murdering somebody. And that's why I have to have these pills. Just to let them know and say, like, hey, like, this is what's going on with the pills. Sometimes the pills are working, sometimes they aren't working, and, and stuff like that. Like, I have to, like, have, something to calm me down. Even though it is kind of hard sometimes for certain types of people, but to me, I just gotten to this point where I'm feeling a lot more calmer and not like I'm frustrated, like I'm trying to like strangle somebody. I just, like I said, I just feel more calmer and I feel more relaxed. Even though most of the time all I do is come home and sleep. Like I feel like I'm a lot more calmer and a lot more responsible now. It's not like I'm still acting like, let's say, a teenager who rather go, go off and do these dangerous stunts and then just, gets arrested and then end up coming home acting like nothing ever happened. Like, another thing that people with autism, that there are some people out there that don't even know how to talk, don't know how to walk, um, don't even know their names. I mean, the only thing you have to do is just try to be patient with these people that actually have autism. And I can tell you, there's a lot. I mean, I was in school from 7th grade through 12th grade. I was in the same class with the same teachers. We would always do this thing where go on field trips every week. And other than just like learning stuff in school, there's a lot that we just learn. Other than us, let's say, learning stuff in school, we would go on field trips like every other week. We will learn a lot more field trip stuff than what most schools don't really want to teach you. For example, like let's say like I'm on a bus, with, like taking a field trip, and just try to just imagine what the field trip is. It don't even have to be like what I'm bringing up. It could just be any field trip you can think of, just whatever. All right, now let's say we got stuck in traffic. So what we do is that instead of us like, let's say like listen to music on the bus, I mean, even though we will listen to music and play on our phones or whatever, but the teachers would always like kind of like test us and say things like, okay, kids, now since we're stuck in traffic, I want to ask you guys some questions. And then the questions will involve, let's say, like what causes traffic and what is traffic and, all this kind of stuff, like just, and we would just have to try to give out the best answers. And it's so weird that a lot of schools don't really give you certain education. Like they're only teaching you like basics. Like with me, other than going on field trips every week, we would learn something, let's say like let's say history, for example. Let's say like we're learning history in 1 week, and it's like we got to try to remember what we read in history. And then let's say next week they'll end up testing us to say like, okay, well, we're going to talk about what we learned last week and then put it in for today's quiz. And it's not just history, it can be math. I mean, we can learn different subjects in like anything. And we will learn all of this in 1 week. And we would get to where like we would always like do this thing. Like when I was in middle school, we used to like watch movies every Friday before we were about to leave to get on the bus to go home. And these would be like more like educational movies, like let's say about the Egypt or ancient histories of, whatever. We would always watch movies and then we had to take notes and stuff like that. And then we had to learn what we've actually watched in that movie. And sometimes like it wouldn't just be like, like school stuff. Sometimes like we'll learn about, let's say like what causes it to rain, or what causes it when, let's say like a tornado or a hurricane comes in. Like that's the kind of stuff we're, learning every day. I would say that I would just gotten the best education because, like I said, most schools don't want to give you the current education. About certain schools will, and then you got a lot of schools that don't, which they need to be on top of. Another thing that you might see people with autism that'll do with their hands, like they'll just do like this, like they're kind of like waving or just doing this with their fingers, whatever. I will do this, like I'm actually following the beat to the, let's say, a song. Or the only thing I've been having problems with is like, I always tell people this all the time, and I think everybody will relate when I tell them this. Having a brain problem. Now, I'm not saying like, like you're basically like brain damaged. I'm not trying to say it like that. I'm saying like when you're like tired all the time and you can't think or focus or anything. Like with me, like even though I actually have autism, there's a lot that people with autism, when they have special needs, when it comes to like learning, like with me, I actually have what you call a late learning disability, where let's say like if you was to teach me something let's say like you was to ask me what 2 plus 2 is, and I'm one of those people who's gonna be all like, either I don't know the answer, sometimes it might take me a while to what the answer is, and then sometimes it might take me till let's say the next day to figure out what the answer is. I mean, it's kind of like a mental delay kind of way to tell you on how bad my brain functions. Like, let's say a blonde, a pothead, or a person that only has like one brain cell kind of way. And I'm not trying to make myself look stupid because I don't want people thinking like, oh, you don't know what 2 plus 2 is. Like, no, I'm not trying to say that. I'm just trying to I'm just trying to let you guys know how my brain developments. And then there's a lot of people's brains out there that don't know how to develop. And then there's some brains with people that don't have any developing, or some do have developing brains. So you just got to actually think to yourself, like, like what things are. And it doesn't even have to be math. It could be like something in history, or something that you might have asked me what I had for breakfast this morning, or anything. Like, I'm not trying to make it so stupid, because a lot of people look at you be like, oh, well, what'd you have breakfast this morning? I don't know. Another thing that I actually have, which is OCD. And I have an extreme of OCDs. Like, for example, you know how like when you're about to go to the bathroom and then you realize, let's say the toilet seat might or might not be, cleaned or whatever. So what I do is that, like, if I'm about to use the bathroom, I'll get like some toilet paper and just wipe down the toilet seat like this, and then throw it in the toilet. And then let's just say like if there's pee in the toilet, because you think like some men will leave pee in the toilet and don't even flush it. Me, I always have to flush things. So if there's pee in the toilet, make sure you flush it. And then when you're done, you can actually sit on the toilet and you don't have to worry about, let's say, like, like pee, splashing on your ass. Like, how, like, with some houses and some companies where they'll actually have these real wooden floors, and like when you're walking on it, it starts making that little creaking noise. That gives me OCD because I'm afraid I'm going to probably cave in. Another OCD that I have is like when things are not in place, it drives me insane. Like earlier today, I was just at Walmart. I was trying to find some thermals because I actually work in a freezer where I make salads in a warehouse where we ship them off to like restaurants and stores and other places. It gets really cold in there, and like I said, I was trying to find some thermals, and I mean, I couldn't find any of the same sizes. I couldn't find, I mean, it was like I could find the same color, but it will have like 2 different sizes. Like, let's say like one will be a medium, let's say pants, and then there's like a 2XL shirt that has the same color. But then I'm over here thinking like, okay, well, if I can find medium pants, maybe I can find me a medium shirt. I couldn't find anything, and it just drive me insane. So I just say, you know what? Instead of me just, going berserk and like have to scream through the top of my lungs, I can just order it online. I don't want to take my anger for granted, and then let's say I get kicked out of the store. Another thing that I have when it comes to OCD, like let's say like this room right now is completely, let's say, a pigsty. It would drive me nuts. Like, I would have to go around and start cleaning up this room, even though there's really nothing on the floor other than just dirt and a few other things, but it's nothing that major I can actually take care of. Another OCD that I actually have, let's say like when nothing is working, and then it's like I'm trying my best to get it to work, and then all of a sudden it doesn't work, and I'm trying to figure out like, how do you get this thing to work if it's broken. And I'd just be like, you know what? I'm just gonna spend my hard-earned money just to get this thing fixed. Like with the computers. I really haven't had a problem with the computer lately since I bought me a brand new Windows computer. I'm actually with Windows 11 now, and not 10. But apparently this one computer I had, it got to where it was so corrupted you couldn't even use it anymore. You couldn't get into the BIOS settings because it would be frozen as well, and then, I actually had two people I was actually, having them fix my computers, and they one just basically just was just so busy, he just hasn't had time to, fix anything. And then another one, let's just say I think he might be getting to that age. Because every time I tell this one guy I'm actually trying to get him to fix it, like he's always saying, "Well, I don't know much about computers." Well, if you don't know much about computers, why do you even build them and fix them? Makes no sense, huh? Okay, this might actually sound kind of stupid, but I have this thing like there are certain things that can't be fixed, and I'm one of them who will basically put so much money into getting that fixed, or I can just try to fix it myself. And then people just say, like, if there's certain things that can't be fixed, then just throw it in the trash, or don't worry about it. And I'm like, I have to, like, but now I realize it is kind of a problem, even though when you find out certain things cannot be fixed. But I think that's mostly about it about me and about my autism and my crazy OCDs. That's it. Bye.